Continuing with Season 2, I am noticing a lot more interesting things that they might have been around for Seasons 1 and early in Season 2, but I've been recently noticing a lot of very interesting little details that seem to mirror and hint at things that have happened and things that I think will happen, and we'll get to some of those. I've got my notes here again, just in order of things that I saw, but I remember some of the things that are here, and I'm excited to sort of talk about them, so it should be fun. First of all, let me move that without hopefully making a very annoying noise. First of all, when Walter and Jesse try and walk back to civilization, I believe, if I remember correctly, Walter starts in the lead, but Jesse slowly gains on him, and you can see Walter's very weak, and they make it very obvious, just again, like, really showcasing to you, obviously, like, okay, Walter is still very weak, and, you know, every so often, in the show, I think they like to, show that a lot, and show, just so you remember, like, he doesn't have much time left on this earth, and, that's obviously a very big part of why his motivation is what it is. Also, is it just me, or is the, title sequence more corroded than before? I'm pretty sure that the title wasn't that corroded in Season 1, and I can't remember if it was in Season 2, Episodes 1 and 2, but I know I noticed here in Episode 3, oh, that looks more corroded than normal. I might be making this up, but it is something I noticed, and I want to bring it up here in case I'm right. Also, Walter's lied a lot in this series, and these are the episodes where his lies really catch up to him. First of all, with him making up this completely fake medical incident, which I think could have maybe worked in a different scenario, but I think the way he went about it was destined to raise a lot of questions, and I think that he asked the people around him to suspend their disbelief way too much, and it really backfired on him, as we'll get into in a second. I don't know how he didn't expect a ton of questions, honestly. I was wrong about T.O. not coming back. I thought the cousins would take care of him and he would just never show up again. No, he definitely showed up again, and he definitely complicated things, although I find it interesting how he sort of helped Jesse, not really out of any moral, he didn't want to help Jesse, he just doesn't want to rat people out to the cops because he likes the cops even less than he likes the people who killed Tuco. So I'm thinking he must have not even liked Tuco that much, because otherwise surely he would have wanted his death to be avenged, right? I would think. Otherwise, I have no idea. Maybe it's just about him not wanting to help the police that much that he'd even let his brother's death go unpunished, just so that he can not help the cops. The painting on the wall in Walter's hospital room. This is one of those things I noticed that I think is sort of intentionally put there to show more what's happening in the story and to be a sort of symbolism. If it's been a while since you've seen the show, you probably don't remember, unless it's a big thing that people know about. I could see this being an Easter egg or something or not an Easter egg, but something that you would find in a top 100 facts about Breaking Bad video. But the painting in the hospital room, it has a man leaving in a boat, and he's leaving his family behind, and they're sort of watching him go, and I think that's supposed to mirror Walter as he grows more distant to his family. I think it's supposed to sort of be a parallel there. I could just be looking too much into it, but that's what I've seen. That is mostly what I have for Episode 3, just things I thought were interesting to point out. Moving on to Episode 4. I will be perfectly honest, I had forgotten about the teddy bear. I had forgotten it was a thing. I think it was in Episode 1 of Season 2 that it showed up, and it was burned and in the pool, and you're wondering, what happened. I'm pretty sure, I don't know the exact layout of the house, but I'm pretty sure that it's the Whites who have the pool. I think it is their pool. So maybe their house burns down eventually, and this is a flash forward to that. I think, if I remember correctly, I think they have a pool, but I can't quite remember. I don't know if it is their house. I don't know why there would be a teddy bear there. I guess for the newborn, for the child who's going to be born very soon. I guess something could go wrong involving that. I'm starting to wonder if the child or if Skylar is going to die, because she's throwing a lot of wrenches into Walter's plans, and that can't last forever. So either she's going to leave him completely and just be written out of the show, which I don't think is going to happen, or I think she's going to have to die somehow. But for her child to die too, that seems a bit too dark for this show. I don't think that they're willing to do that, and I think I've mentioned that in the past in these videos. I don't think that they're willing to do that exactly. But I don't know what the alternative is. I just don't think the way that things are with her as a character can be kept up for very long. I think that what I expect is, I think at least the last season of the show is going to be much less focused on Walter's family and more just focused on him and the people that he meets doing all these shady things he's been up to. We'll put it like that. I do like quite a bit how the show will sometimes focus on like characters' faces quite a bit, like for longer than you would expect, kind of letting you take in like their full reaction to the things happening around them, rather than like cuts every few seconds, which is kind of the normal way things are done. There's been a few times where I've noticed that the shots just linger on someone, and they just continue to watch them, and you kind of see through their incredible performance, even when they're not talking, just that the emotions kind of go across their face. And it's done in a very fascinating way, because it doesn't cut away for a fairly long time. I remember one shot in particular with Skylar where Walter's lying to her, and the shot just stays on her for a long time, because you can tell it's subtle, but she does not believe him, and because we're humans, we can tell. She, eventually she leaves in the middle of him talking, and she's just fed up with it. And I think that one shot really helped to hammer that home. And I think that in episode 4 here is when both Jesse and then later Walter hit their lowest points. Walter's been trying to kind of lay low and keep suspicions down, I think, but it hasn't worked. He's gotten himself into a bad situation, and it's crept into his family life, and he's tried to keep it out. He's tried to make sure that his family doesn't know, but it's not worked. And now both he and Jesse are, I think, at their lowest points so far, and I'm curious if that's going to get worse. I don't think so. I think that for now, at least, things are going to stay here, and it's just going to drive Walter right back into his again, shady dealings. Also, this is more of a question for anyone watching this, because I'm too lazy to look it up. How old is Walter Jr. again? He seems like he would be driving already, but apparently he's learning in this episode. I like the touch of Walter being absent enough that he isn't the first to help Walter Jr. learn to drive, something that clearly bothers Walter. I know Walter Jr. gets another name in this episode. I don't know if it's going to stick, but I forget what the name is. I might just start calling him by that to make it less confusing, because it's very confusing when I have to talk about both of them in the same sentence. I do like, because Jesse gets back his RV eventually, and I like how he breaks in to get it, and it doesn't work, and so he just does the exact same thing again, and it works. I mean, I guess if at first you don't succeed, try again. It worked for him. So, I guess that's a good thing. I am starting to be annoyed with Skylar again. Like, obviously, and, I've kind of come to realize this over time, she is probably one of the more morally righteous people here. But even so, the way that she goes about things, I'm starting to dislike her again. Like, obviously, Walter is hiding stuff from her. He is. But she knows this. Like, she's very confident about this. She realizes this. It's not like a suspicion anymore. She kind of knows. But she refuses to actually confront him about anything. She just sits there and stays silent, like she doesn't actually care, even though she definitely does. And once he starts trying to communicate, even though, again, he's kind of still lying, she finally decides to be like almost transparent with what she actually thinks. But otherwise she's so passive aggressive. I guess maybe what she's thinking is, if he's hiding things from me, I should hide things from him. But if that happens, the situation doesn't go anywhere. Nothing gets better. And obviously these are flawed people, and so of course they're going to do flawed things that don't make sense sometimes. It bothers me more than a lot of other characters in this show have bothered me. Again, I know Walter's definitely the guilty one here, but she is not making things easier. She isn't. Like, I don't know. That is about all I have here for today. I guess next time we'll be covering episodes 5 and 6. Season 2 is longer than Season 1, and I think that's good. Season 1 already felt slow-paced, but Season 2, I think, maybe... Either this means it's going to get even more slow-paced, but I don't see how that's even possible, while retaining the quality of the show and still having people like it. I think that really that just means that there's going to be more that happens in the season, and I'm excited to see it. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you for watching once again. I'll see you all very soon, probably tomorrow. Bye-bye.